Hey guys, so today I have 3 different clays and I'm going to be doing a little comparison of them. So first of all I have Sculpey 3 in the colour Tan, I have Primo Sculpey in the colour Ecru, and I have Fimo Soft in the colour Sahara. Now each of these 3 colours are used a lot by people to make pastries and cakes and cookies and all sorts of things, but as you can see they're all slightly different colours. This one is probably the darkest one, although they're kind of the same sort of darkness, so just a different shade of colour, and this one is definitely the lightest one. So I'm going to do a little comparison of them and see which one I prefer the best. I'm going to make a cookie and a cupcake and maybe something else, I don't know, I might make something else. I'm going to make the same thing out of each one of these clays, doing exactly the same technique, exactly the same shading and texturing with the same colour chalk pastels and things, and I'm going to see what each of them looks like before and after baking. Of course it's going to look different slightly because you'll be watching through a screen and you won't see it in real life, so you're going to probably have to go on my word for it, and of course my word is mostly my opinion, so opinions do change. So you may prefer using Tan over Sahara, or you may prefer using Ecru over Tan, I don't know, it depends, it's personal preference, and of course people prefer different clays. I prefer using Sculpey 3 to using Fimo because I find Fimo is not actually that soft. Once you've opened it, it gets very hard, and for me it's kind of hard to condition. Some people prefer the hard clays and prefer Fimo. It's honestly up to different people's like favorites and things like that. So either way, I am going to try out the clays, see what I think. I have used Tan most in my cookies and cakes and things like that. It was the clay I first used. I recently started using Ecru and I do like that, and I've never used Sahara, so this will be quite interesting to try out all of these clays in making different pastries and things. So let's go. On Instagram what I could make out of the clays to show each kind of clay, and someone asked what they look like when mixed with translucent. So I have 3 blocks of equally sized translucent. It's a bit approximate, but they look a bit equally sized to me. So then we have the Sahara, we have the Ecru, and we have the Tan. So I'm going to mix these in and we're going to see what they look like. Okay, so this is what they look like mixed in. As you can see, I think the Tan looks pretty much the same, whereas the Ecru looks lighter, definitely in person. I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but it definitely looks lighter in person. And I think the Sahara looks pretty much the same, maybe a tad bit lighter. So obviously you can't tell if this is going to make a difference until we bake it. So what we're going to do is make a cupcake and a cookie if I can, if I have enough clay out of these bowls. out of these clays as well. So we're going to make a cupcake, maybe a cookie out of these clays, and then we'll see what they look like before and after baking as well. So it's like a super duper comparison. I just want to mention, this is the Sahara mixed with translucent, and it is so sticky and soft, and it's so hard to work with. So I had made a cupcake, but it came out so deformed that I just squished it up, and I might try again, but honestly it's just so soft and horrible, I really don't want to touch it. Okay, so this is what they look like before baking. So these are the tan, and these are the tan with translucent, Ecru and translucent, and Sahara and translucent. I can instantly see that the Ecru looks more golden, looks a bit more baked than the other colours. I would definitely say that that one is probably my favourite, just looking at it before it's been baked. I would say that the one without the translucent looks a bit better because it's slightly darker. I just think it looks kind of more like, a bit more realistic in my opinion. The Sahara is definitely a lot paler. It'll probably work well for things like bread, things that are supposed to be really pale, maybe more cake slices and things like that would work a bit better with it. I think the cupcake looks pretty okay, and the cookie I think looks just a bit too pale for my liking. And I will mention that the clay became very sticky and soft when mixed with translucent. I'm not sure why. The translucent I used was Sculpey 3 brand, so I don't know if that would make a difference. It's the only translucent I have, so it's all I could use right now. Just mentioning that the chocolate chips are Sculpey 3 chocolate as well. That's the only chocolate colour I have, but that's not going to be in the comparison because we're not comparing chocolate colours. The tan, I would say, is definitely darker. It's a bit too dark, looks kind of a bit burnt. It might work for dark bread. It might work well for other things that need to be dark. I can't think of any right now. I think maybe mixed with translucent the colour looks a bit better, but we'll see because you can't tell translucent until it's been baked. So I'm going to bake these and we'll be back and we'll see what the differences are. Okay, so here are the results after they have been baked. So as you can see, these are tan, these are Ecru, these are the Sahara, and the bottom two of each one are with the translucent. So we'll have a little closer look at them. As you can see with the tan, this is normal, this is with translucent. The tan is lighter with the translucent. It's not overly noticeable, these aren't well made cakes or anything like that, so they're not going to be perfect. I did shade and texture them, and they look fairly much the same, except this one's a bit lighter. It might work a bit better for cookies and cakes and things than the normal darker version. And again, this one's the translucent, this one is the normal. Again, they look pretty much the same. So for the Ecru, this is a normal, this is the translucent. I don't think they've changed very much actually. It's hard to tell on camera. This one is lighter, but they pretty much look the same. They're both golden, both pretty nice actually. I really like the Ecru colour. I shaded them slightly differently. This one's a bit too dark on the bottom, but you get the idea. And again, for the cookies, in real life you can tell that the one with translucent is lighter than the one without, but on camera you can't really tell. And then lastly for the Sahara, this one's the one I think changed the least with the translucent in terms of colour, but it definitely got a lot more sticky. I think that was down to the translucent being Sculpey 3. It is a very soft clay, but it didn't turn as sticky with the other clays, which is a bit unusual. So it did kind of have a bit of a different texturing. As you can see, it's a bit more wobbly, I think. You can see that better with the cookie. The cookie is very round, the one with the translucent is very wobbly and very messy, and it just totally messed up. But like I say, this is just an experiment, so it's not really supposed to be perfect anyway. We'll just have a quick look to see the colour differences after being baked. This is the tan. Of course it's been shaded and textured, so it will look slightly different anyway. But I think the colour pretty much looks the same. Compared with being mixed with translucent, it does look lighter, definitely in person. You might be able to tell a bit better here. with the Ecru, it looks pretty much exactly the same as the non-baked clay colour. And then mixed with translucent, you can kind of tell it looks a bit lighter. It looks fairly similar though, it's hard to tell because it's been shaded, but you can tell it looks a bit lighter. And then for the Sahara, looks again pretty much the same. These clays don't really change very much after being baked. And then with translucent, again it looks pretty much the same. You can't really tell it's gone any lighter. You might be able to tell a little bit, but it's very hard to tell, even in person. So that was the results and everything I need to talk about in regards to these clays. My personal opinion, I like the Ecru best. Whether it's mixed with translucent or not, it looks fine. I think I prefer the normal Ecru because mixed with translucent it does get a bit softer. They all got a bit softer mixed with translucent. The Fimo one was the worst for that though. It got very soft and very sticky and very hard to work with. And these two were just a little bit softer. My least favourite, I think it's probably got to be the tan actually. It's a little bit too dark for cakes and cookies I think. It might work for other things, maybe it's a darker cake, like maybe it's more chocolatey type of cake, dark brown bread maybe. Things that are meant to be darker will look better with this clay. These ones I think look a bit too dark, but with the translucent it does look a lot better. And the Sahara is just a bit too pale in my opinion. It might work well actually for chibis, for skin tone. These ones probably won't, unless you want a darker skin person, of course, tan is great. I'm just talking about normal pale skin. Sahara would be great for that if you wanted that colour for skin. Personal preference again. Of course, it's okay for cookies and things. Maybe a bit of more shading will make it look better. Maybe if you shade it all over rather than just around the edge. But that kind of defeats the object of using that colour clay, I think, really. But again, it's up to you. It depends what you prefer. I mean, you can try out these clays yourself. I bought them from craft shops and from eBay and things like that. You can buy these clays pretty much anywhere. If you're stuck, go for eBay because you can pretty much always find it on eBay, even if you can't find it in your craft shop or anything. So yeah, if you want to try out these clays yourself, go for it and then let me know what you think. Maybe try it with just less of the colour clay mixed in with the translucent. More translucent clay might give a different effect. Yeah, mix it in with other colours of clay. Maybe mixing in tan and Sahara might make a totally different colour, I don't know. Like I say, it's all personal preference, and yeah, like I say, I prefer normally Ecru, but the other ones are okay for different things. So I hope you liked this video. I hope it was kind of informative, hope it was a bit helpful. If you have any other kind of videos like this you want me to try, maybe other colours of clay you'd like me to like review, maybe different comparisons maybe of different translucent clays. I could get translucent clay from other companies and see what those are like. That was an idea. Like I say, I do have the Sculpey 3 translucent, but I can get hold of a Primo or Fimo and do that. Yeah, so if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and stuff, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!